Have you ever wondered what it takes to build a brand that truly lasts? One that leaves a legacy? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on professional branding. We're going to walk through how a simple idea transforms into a powerhouse asset for any business. Let's get right into it. All right, let's just start with a really simple question. When you think of your company's brand, what's the very first thing that pops into your mind? Is it the logo? If you said yes, hey, you're not alone, but I've got to tell you, you're missing the biggest, most exciting part of the story. Because a brand, a real brand, is so much more than that. You know, think about your favorite coffee shop. It's not just the little drawing on the cup, right? It's the smell of the coffee when you walk in, the way the barista knows your order, that one comfy chair in the corner. That whole feeling, that entire experience, that's the brand. It's a promise, it's a personality, and it's way more than just a picture. Which brings us to our first big idea. Building a brand is not just some fun, creative thing you do at the end. No way. It's the strategic heart of your entire business. Everything you do should be built right on top of it. So why does that matter so much? Well, because that solid foundation is what builds everything else. It builds trust, it builds confidence. When your brand is clear and consistent, your customers know exactly what they're getting. And that feeling of security, that's what turns a one-time buyer into a lifelong loyal fan. Now, to build a brand like a pro, you first have to learn to speak the language. And yeah, branding has its own language. There are these core concepts that are basically the essential vocabulary for building any powerful brand. Let's quickly run through some of these key terms. You've got your USP, your unique selling proposition. That's the one thing that makes you totally different from everyone else out there. Then, target market analysis. That's about really getting to know your customer. Not just who they are, but what they want, what they need. And this one's great, the 9/10 rule of branding. Think of it like an iceberg. The 10% you see is the logo and the ads, but the other 90%, the real power, is all the strategic work happening below the surface. Okay, so knowing the language is step one, but to actually get your hands dirty and build something amazing, you need the right tools. We're talking about professional frameworks that help you turn those big ideas into a concrete plan of attack. And your toolkit would be packed with some seriously cool stuff. Things like a brand opportunity tree to map out where you can grow next, or the 60 seconds brand test, a super fast way to see if your message is actually hitting the mark. These aren't just theories. These are the practical, real-world tools that professionals use every single day. So you've got the language, you've got the tools. How do all these pieces come together? Well, one of the best ways to picture it is with something called the brand pyramid. It's a perfect visual for how a legendary brand is built, layer by layer, from the ground up. And here's the most important thing to remember. All the flashy stuff, the cool logo, the clever marketing, that's the very top of the pyramid. And if you don't have a solid, strategic foundation underneath it all, the whole thing is just going to crumble. You absolutely have to build from the bottom up. So how's it done? Well, the pyramid starts at the bottom with your core vision. That's your why. Why do you exist? That vision then fuels your mission, the what. What do you do? From there, you build your proposition, your unique promise. Then you give your brand a personality, a character, and define the core values that will guide every single thing you do. Each layer locks into place, making the whole structure stronger. Okay, once that super strong strategic foundation is set in stone, it's time for the really fun part. It's time to make it real. This is where we translate all that strategy, the why and the what, into things your customers can actually see, touch, and feel. This is where the magic happens, where you really bring that brand personality to life. I mean, how do you take an abstract idea like innovation or dependability and show it? How do you make people feel it through colors, shapes, and design? It all starts with playing and exploring. You'll build mood boards to nail down the exact feeling you're going for. You'll sketch out tons of initial ideas, and you'll learn the incredible psychology behind color and shape. This is where the big ideas start to become something you can actually see. From all those ideas, you start to refine. You narrow things down to the strongest concept. You finalize that perfect logo, and then, and this is key, you make sure every single piece of your brand fits together perfectly. The final result, a professional, cohesive style guide. That's your brand's official rulebook for how it shows up in the world. So when you put it all together, the rock-solid strategy and the brilliant creative execution, what you end up with is so much more than a logo. You have a complete playbook for managing and growing your brand for years to come. And having this playbook, understanding this whole system, is absolutely essential for anyone who wants to lead. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a marketer, or a manager, knowing how to build and protect your brand is how you create real, lasting value. So what's the big takeaway here? Building an incredible brand isn't just about designing a pretty logo. It's a whole process. It starts with a deep strategic why and builds all the way up to creating a consistent identity, a cohesive system, and that all-important long-term value we call brand equity. And let's just focus on that for a second. This isn't just about making things look good. It's about managing a critical business asset. Brand equity is the actual measurable value of your brand's reputation. And learning how to grow that value is probably one of the most powerful skills you can have in business today. You know, at the end of the day, your company's brand is its future. It's the story people will tell about you. It's your legacy. So the only real question left is, are you ready to build it?